Greetings. I am your briefing officer for today's game. The GM in the Great Barriers channel features Star Trek tabletop games using the first edition Star Trek Adventures 2D20 engine by Modiphius. The Partisan's Edge campaign is set in the later part of the Lost era of Star Trek, circa 2356, with Revanchist Industries of the Broken Sword campaign as writer and game master. Our crew's primary ship is the USS Vulcan's Forge, a Cheyenne-class vessel. Those of you joining the channel for the first time, I'll direct you to our local channel points, the Quatlu. You can spend these to interact with our games by changing the difficulty of task rolls, granting momentum or threat, or creating narrative traits to help and hinder our players. These Quatlus accrue at an accelerated rate if you are either a follower or subscribed to the channel. These also let you access exclusive emotes to the channel. You may also wield commands in chat for supplemental information, entering the exclamation mark with the command listed here and in the panels below. These will let you access our archived broadcasts of Star Trek Adventures campaigns, how to keep up with the community, and other ways to support the channel. Per Starfleet regulations, in terms of service, please observe courtesy for your fellow chat members and the crew. If you enjoy our games and want to support the channel, you can follow here on Twitch or follow on our YouTube channel as well. You can also subscribe or support us on Ko-Fi. Welcome aboard the Vulcan's Forge. The game will begin shortly, and we hope you enjoy.
Hello, everybody who is watching, and welcome to the pilot episode of Star Trek Partisan's Edge.
Yippee!
Yippee! I am your GM, the artist formerly known as Kresik, Starfleet Command, who will be sending our crew on delightful missions to bring joy, peace, and prosperity to the galaxy. With us today, we have Caligo, who will be playing Captain Blackburn. We have Ray, who will be playing First Officer Commander Dyood. We have Sean, who will be playing Chief of Security, Lieutenant Commander Sakul. And Cheesy, who will be playing our medical officer and field medic, Lieutenant Baxtra. As per usual, we'd like to do our standard shout-outs. First off, thank you for joining us here at GM in the Great Barriers channel. We know that he is on hiatus for a few months, and this campaign is designed to kind of give us a little something to do in the interim while we wait for the inevitable return of a very peaceful campaign of Star Trek Adventures Broken Sword. If you have not gotten a chance to watch these other archive campaigns, I recommend you please do so. We'd like to also shout out friend of the channel and the player of our helmsman in Star Trek Adventures Broken Sword, Azek Korg. That's Joe, the OverlandGamer. He has a Twitch channel as well. We'd like to shout out so that you can check out and see what he's doing these days. And I believe he's in the chat with us as well. So, Joe, we see you. Don't spend too many Quatlus on us on this episode, please. I beg you.
Saved up to kill us all.
Yes. As far as any other announcements go, I believe our other streamer, Caligo, do you have anything you would like to discuss? What's going on your channel?
Well, I've been learning how to do art. So I've started doing art streams, so that's been fun.
Very nice. Anything in particular you're doing with your art?
No, but I may be forced to draw character art as I'm feeling the eyes linger on me for that.
Oh, really? Not from me.
Not yet,
I
anyway.
wonder who could be doing that. But that will be very good. Please feel free to check him out. I believe we shouted him out as well. For those of you who are watching, if you do watch the stream, you will accumulate Quatlus, which will allow you to tell your GM to do things, such as, I believe some that have been spent so far. We have Hydrate, which I'm sure has happened, and also to stretch. With more Quatlus, you can also influence narrative aspects. You can do threat and momentum expenditures, create advantages, even voice, have some lines from a minor NPC voiced. So if you get a chance to do that, like I said, please have pity on this new GM to Roll20 on this session, but just watch and accumulate those Quatlus and use them, please, in future episodes. Star Trek Adventures Partisan's Edge follows the crew of the USS Vulcan's Forge, a cruiser of the Cheyenne class variety, as it is sent to a task force stationed out of Starbase 211 during a increase of tension and hostilities of the Federation Cardassian border wars. This will be our pilot episode, episode 1. Our title for our pilot is A Legacy Unspoken, episode 1, part 1. So, without further ado, the year is 2355. 10 years before the launch of the USS Enterprise D. The same year that, in a few months' time, the USS Stargazer will be destroyed, engaging an unknown vessel. The Federation is at peace, according to news networks. Unprecedented time of growth and expansion. The constant Cold War with the Klingon Empire has come to an end, and an alliance has been formed between these two governments, formerly at odds for centuries. It's the final era and years of those old scientists of the age of exploration of the early Federation. And new generations of crew members are joining. The next generation, you could even say, are taking to the stars and making their name. But in the midst of this, we come to a time and place on Federation headquarters, Earth, San Francisco. Captain Blackburn, you have been told of a new commission you will be having. Caligo, what was the name of your last vessel?
My last vessel?
Mm-hmm.
The USS Redstone.
The USS Redstone. And it was a Miranda class, I believe you said?
Yes.
And that was your first commission, correct?
That was my first time as a captain.
As Miranda class are wont to do, they are often the first commission of any newly appointed captain of a Starfleet vessel. And that was yours. Captain Blackburn was known to have served with distinction aboard the Redstone. And as his tour came to an end, he was informed that not only would his next commission be aboard a vessel of a larger and more impressive variety, but also that it would be a new vessel, recently constructed out of Antares fleet yards, the USS Vulcan's Forge. Over the last few months, as handoffs have occurred between yourself and the new captain of the Redstone, as it's transferring hands to a new crew, a new fresh-faced captain, you've been staying within your quarters at Starfleet headquarters that have been granted to you. Let me switch to our map. Let's see if this works.
Well, there we go.
Hey, it worked. Fantastic. At this point, much of the minor operations have been taken care of. You've discussed your personal preferences about the Vulcan's Forge, and what small things you were able to alter during the time of its final finishing touches being made here, orbiting Earth's space dock. But the most important thing is coming now, and that is senior staff selection. Caligo, your alarm goes off. It's time for you to get up and get to the day's actions. What are you doing? And feel free to drop your token in as well.
All right, let's drag him in. Of course,
If you need some time to think, feel free to let me know. But
well, it's mostly start of day, start of. Or it's probably the alarm is probably more of this is an official time for a starting of shift. Getting breakfast and personal hygiene over with.
I see. You take care of those things. It's been busy. You've kind of been being loaded with data pads of information. By the numbers, the one thing you've learned in your time as captain is, by the numbers, what a captain is doing is paperwork.
Yeah. Data pad for true assignments, data pad for information on Cardassians.
Yes. Very true. Anything else? Anything else? As you're perusing over your mountain of data pads, does anything in particular catch your eye?
Well, now since the the launch date is getting close, he is definitely taking a closer look at who his commanding officers are going to be.
Very good. We'll get to a roll in a second. Launch date is getting close. You're about 4 weeks out from the launch of the Vulcan's Forge. The fact that you haven't settled on a full command staff yet, for most people, might be a little concerning. But you should have everything in hand, you think.
A little concerning. Starfleet made some additional requests he needs to fulfill.
Exactly. In fact, most of these requests that have come up haven't actually been from Starfleet. They've been from the UFP.
Oh.
One thing that... Actually, you know what? Let's do the first roll. Let's do an insight and command roll. Difficulty 0. Let's start generating some momentum here.
All right, insight in command. Let's see. How about some what focuses would apply?
Yeah, what are your focuses?
Debate, Starfleet protocols. Composure, cultural expert, linguistics, survival, and war games.
I would say either Starfleet protocols or cultural expert. Your choice. It will potentially affect the information you get.
Let's go with Starfleet protocols.
Okay. Difficulty, like I said, is 0. Complication range is standard, just 1.
All right.
Just get some momentum flowing.
All right. 3 momentum.
3 momentum is joined. Who would like to be our dedicated momentum officer for the episode?
I nominate Woe.
Ray, will you be able to handle
My
that? I don't know what you're...
I don't know how to do that.
Okay. Understandable.
Someone will have to show me next game.
Yes, we can walk through we can actually walk you through that after the session real quick. If you have a couple minutes. It's very quick.
Yes, that would be great.
Excellent. But in lieu of Woe for now, looks like Cheesy has chosen to be our dedicated momentum officer. Excellent. 3 momentum. Okay. What you've seen in your time here, and you've been back here for about 2 months. Back at Starfleet HQ. The Federation of Planets and Starfleet Command are tense. Starfleet sees a war. The Federation sees an operation. That can be handled peacefully. So there's been a bit of tension. Nothing too bad. But you can definitely see a lot of the requests coming in from the Federation are for diplomatic attaches and cultural experts, linguistic experts, things along those lines. Less for what you have seen out there in the Alpha Quadrant.
I see.
So you spend a bit of the morning looking through some of the data pads. Probably about 9 o'clock in the morning. You hear the chime, the alarm at your door. Doo-doo.
Enter.
Door opens and stepping in. Let's move this from the GM layer to the token layer.
How may I help you?
You recognize as she enters, your personnel officer, your staffing contact from Starfleet, Commander Avila, as she steps in. Captain Blackburn. Pleasure as always. Looks like you've already been at it.
Got a lot to go through before shipping out.
She kind of steps in, doors closed behind her. Indeed. Have you managed to look through the list of applicants that I narrowed down to you for senior staff options?
I've narrowed it down to a few choices. Trying to impede by both what Starfleet recommends and what the UFP keeps asking for. This Commander Zune and Lieutenant Stitol both seem like good choices.
Yes, I was a little worried when I recommended Lieutenant Commander Skull as your chief of security. I'm not a superstitious type, but there's a bit of a reputation around him.
A reputation?
Yes, a bad luck charm, you could say.
Oh? Do elaborate.
Well, it kind of depends on how you look at it. He survived a lot of combat missions, as is clear on his record. You don't earn the Grand Kai Order of Tactics for nothing. But a lot of missions, he tends to be one of the only members of his squad who makes it back.
So they've associated him with bad luck?
Like I said, it's just junior officer gossip. But it's my job to collect junior officer gossip and make sure that you're aware.
It's understandable. I
Go ahead, sorry.
understand, but I don't think I will hold this against him. If anything, I can commend him for clearly being placed into dangerous situations due to his commanders underestimating what they were being sent into.
Exactly. Like I said, I don't judge. It's not my job to judge stories. It's my job to give you the stories and then for you to judge.
I see.
As for your commanding officer choices, I do kind of judge.
No.
Permission to speak freely, sir?
Permission granted.
Your first officer is a personality hire.
A personality hire?
Yes. You know how Starfleet Command has resisted for a long time the idea of officer exchanges between allied militaries?
Yes.
The UFP pushed a few of them through, and the commander is one of them.
I see.
Nothing about his record seems off, but it was a UFP choice, not a
Starfleet choice?
not a Starfleet choice.
I see. I know the UFP really is putting their nose really deep into this. But this commander has a very good record.
He does. And quite frankly, I'm more than happy to be proven wrong. In fact, we could use being proven wrong these days more than anything else.
That's why I was also making the choice for the Lieutenant Commander Cole. Long history, good history with Starfleet, with a non-Starfleet commander in an officer exchange, they could complement each other.
I am in full agreement with whatever your decisions are.
I see.
And then there's, let's see, she also has a handful of data pads that she's looking through. Let's see. Your chief medical officer, a Commander Grady? Is that right? Commander Grady was the choice that was landed on. I think that's an excellent choice, really. The Andorian medical staff is highly qualified, and it seems like he spent some time with there before transferring over. Several ships and starbases, worked with Starfleet medical here for a while, and when you're going into a dangerous zone, such as the border, a well-experienced medical officer is important.
Of course.
Very good, very good. Anything else you need to discuss with me? I know we handled the transfer. You were a bit of a stickler about making sure that the Vulcan's Forge got those shuttle bays, those additional shuttle bays, and you transferred over your lead shuttle pilot as well. Other than that, was there anything else that you needed from the Redstone before we finish duty reassignments?
No. I think I got everything I needed off board, personal effects and the like.
Very good, very good. I think there's a few members of the crew you'll be picking up at Starbase 211.
That's correct.
All right. Those ones I think were members of the previous vessel to lead the task force out of Starbase 211, the USS Pequod. They will be very valuable. And they'll know Sakul, since he also served aboard the Pequod.
No, I hope they won't have any problems with the Lieutenant Commander's bad luck. Supposedly.
I hope not myself. Go ahead and for the remainder of this time here, as you're reviewing through lesser import duty officer rosters and selection, roll me either a daring or reason and command roll. Difficulty of this will be, let's say 2.
2?
Yes.
Any focuses of mine that apply?
Let me see. Let me relook at your sheet. You will be assisted by Commander Avila as well.
Oh, that's good.
Let me see. Not in this case.
No focuses. All right.
No focus, but let me just check something real quick. I have been told to hydrate. I have a delightful beverage here that I will hydrate with. Thank you. I can assist with a focus, though.
Okay, that's good.
So if you could let me know which one you're doing.
Daring.
And then, okay. So she will do the other one, which is reason and command. She has a staffing focus. And she can also re-roll her d20 on that roll.
All right.
So go ahead and roll.
Okay.
Wow. These are some good rolls, guys. That's another 3 successes. So that's already a success, plus 1 bonus momentum. And then she is going to assist. And she provides an additional success. Would you like her to reroll and try and go for a critical? Or are you fine with 2 bonus momentum?
I'm fine with that.
All right. The remainder of the day, of the morning, goes pretty good. You make some choices for some other minor heads of departments, some civilian postings that are important. Is there any additional information you would like? Obtaining information spends are always available for you, should you choose.
I think I've gotten a good enough amount of screen time.
All right. So as the morning comes to an end, oh god, stop clicking on that. Sorry, Roll20 is being a bit of an issue. Okay, it's back. As the morning comes to an end, you finish picking out your senior command staff, more or less, with the exception of the ones you'll pick up at Starbase 211. Pick out a chief engineering officer as well. And we get toward the end of the morning. Commander Avila looks to you and says, all right, I think we've made pretty good headway today. The only question, how would you like to, once we finalize these options here that we're going to have on Earth, how are we going to, well, as staffing officer, I think it's usually good to have a bit of a team building meeting before the command staff begins to serve together. Do you have any thoughts or suggestions on what that could be?
Lunch or dinner meeting?
You read my mind, sir. In fact, I found this delightful chef who could probably help us out with that. A bit of a chef, bit of a bartender. As soon as all of these not promotions, but as soon as all these staffing letters make it through, staffing messages make it through, I think we can probably plan one of those. Provided you approve, of course.
I don't see why not.
Very good. All right. Well, I think that handles just about everything for the morning. Lunch?
That sounds good. I'm feeling my eyes going all in my head from looking at so many data pads.
You know, I would feel that way if that wasn't my job here, sir. But let's go. And with that, the two of you head out to the Bay of San Francisco to find yourself a bite to eat. From there, we transfer to one of the Federation simulation centers. In a few years, these things might be known as holodecks. But right now, they're very power intensive and usually only exist aboard space stations or here on Federation HQ. The ones of the power level that we need for this particular exercise, anyways. We find ourselves aboard the bridge of a starship. In particular, this is a bridge of an Excelsior class starship. Lieutenant Commander Sakal, you have fought with Starfleet for quite some time since you've been brought back here to HQ for routine psychological evaluation between the loss of vessels.
Pequod, yes.
You fought with them to stop using the damned show floor version of the Excelsior Bridge on the Starship simulation systems. But they don't listen to you. So this is the closest you can get to the bridge of the USS Pequod. Again, feel free to drop in your token, Sean, to the tactical station.
Figure out how to do that.
Just drag yourself in. If you need, I can do it for you.
From the side or from the bottom? Because the picture on
From the
bottom
side.
is still my own. My old one.
From the side.
Every time
From the list of characters.
Yeah, I know. I understand that. But
Yeah, no worries.
it's not doing it.
I got you. Feel free to move him around, but there he is.
Yeah, that's where the tactical is in the rear.
I think so. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really
It's
do a
fine.
lot of research of Excelsior
It's
bridges.
fine. It works.
You've been running through this mission whenever you get access to the simulations to try to figure out what you could have done differently. What you could have done to save the USS Pequod. Sean, there are 3 Cardassian Galler-class warships in front of you. There are 2 Federation starships making their escape behind you.
We've already taken out 3 of the Cardassian ships by this point of the simulation.
You've already taken out 3 more. But the Cardassians seem to keep coming.
And they're focused fire on this ship.
Come again?
They're focusing fire on this ship.
They're focusing fire on you.
They seem intent on taking out the command vessel.
Exactly. 3 Cardassian Galler-class vessels. One of them, the shields are down. The other 2 are functional right now. In various states of functional.
The ship that has the shields down, weapons, how many weapon systems are still active?
All of them. You just recently fired the salvo of phasers that dropped the shields. They responded by opening fire on you. You've taken some damage. Taken a decent amount of damage, honestly. You know your station. You know what your captain has ordered you to do. Hold the line. What are you going to do?
If I just dropped the shields on that one ship, it is getting a full overloaded spread of torpedoes.
Excellent. You're going to fire a full spread maximum yield of torpedoes then? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
All right. Now, because this is a simulation, I'm not going to take threat for this.
Okay.
Because that would be silly.
Thank you.
But for those of you who are new to the Star Trek adventure system, firing torpedoes usually is a cause for an increase of threat on the GM's side, which is a resource that he or she or they can use to adversely impact the narrative. But the simulation threat isn't important. So, Sean, if you could roll me a photon torpedo roll. Let me just pull this up real quick, like. Torpedoes. The difficulty of this roll is 3. It's going to be a control and security roll, and you will be assisted by the Pequod's weapons plus security. I will roll the Pequod for you because I have the stats for that.
Okay. So it's a salvo. I don't know what the benefits of that are.
Salvos give you... let me pull that up real quick. Adds 3 to strat, that's fine. Increases the attack's damage by 1 die, which I'll take care of. And also
gains the benefit of the attack. Also gains the benefit of the devastating attack's momentum spend, as though we had spent 2 momentum.
Beautiful. All right. So if you could go ahead and roll that. Like I said, the difficulty is 3. Feel free to spend momentum if you need a 3rd die. Definitely your focus of starship weapons would apply.
That's what a thought. So focus use. Yes. Yeah, if anybody has any problem with me spending momentum, I would like to spend a momentum to get an extra die.
Go for it then. Okay. So we currently have 1 success, 1 complication. We'll get to the complication in a second. Let me see what the starship does. Okay. Hold up. Let me just check on this real quick. I don't know why it says that it's a complication, but it is not a complication for the starship. Sean.
We had to have taken some serious damage by this point.
Exactly. Again, I'm not going to have you give me threat. I'm not going to make you spend momentum to do this. As Sakal is targeting in, he has the ship locked in. He presses the fire button. You get an alert on your console. A tinny voice from the weapons bay calls out, "Commander, the launch bay is jammed."
Clear it now.
But sir. Aye, sir. And he is going to get about and do that. In the meantime, the cruiser on the one with the shields down begins to turn toward you. There does not seem to be any care about their safety as they close in, and they are going to attempt to fire their disruptor banks at you.
Evasive maneuvers?
Yes, you can do evasive maneuvers on your next turn, but remember, in Star Trek Adventures, initiative goes back and forth between player and NPC.
Oh, yeah.
So yes, evasive maneuvers are called.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
And with a total of 1 success, the disruptors shoot past. Let me see if any of these were actually. This is really frustrating. That it looks like everything is, but they're not. Neither of those, even though they may look like complications, they are not complications. The disruptor banks pulse and fire, missing your vessel barely. As you call for evasive maneuvers, the Pequod jukes ever so slightly out of the way. Impulse engines sputtering under the power demands of everything that you have been doing this turn. It's back to your turn.
I'm sure that the torpedo tubes have not been cleared, so now I'm going to have to just fire more phasers at this ship.
All right.
I'm focusing fire on this one ship.
Would you like to spend a minor action to aim, which would allow you to re-roll one of your 2 die should it be bad? Difficulty of this is difficulty of 2.
Okay. And again, ship weapon systems come in.
Yep, ship weapon system is going to come in, and again, you'll be assisted by the Pequod.
Here we go, trying it again. My control and security is a 15.
That's tough.
These systems must be very damaged.
The phasers lance out, the beams shoot out, and you see the ship take the hit along a part of the superstructure that you fought Cardassians a long time now. You know the part of the superstructure that they lost is just there for show. You know so much about Cardassian culture is just there for show.
We just shut off the primary buffer panel.
You blew up a part of it that looks really good when the ships fly by on parade by the Cardassian people. And you realize that whoever is captaining this ship altered the ship's course specifically so that part would get taken out instead of taking a direct hit. One of the other two Galler. Okay, go ahead, please.
Between the damage to the ship and the fact that we just did evasive maneuvers, that's why I missed.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
One of the other Galler class cruisers, one of the ones with the shield still intact, shoots past you. As you watch through the view screen as this vessel flies toward you, up and over you, toward the 2 vessels with colonists that you are so desperately trying to screen and protect. It's back to you.
Throw a tractor beam on it.
Okay. Tractor beam on this is scale 4. Dang, I did not prepare tractor beams. Nice one. Give me a second. Will I pull up tractor beams? Please hold. I really should have put tractor beams on this ship, but that's on me.
What do I need, or is that ship entirely?
Give me 1 second. I gotta look up tractor beams. Sorry, I don't actually have tractor beams for this vessel prepared. I know it has to deal with the ship's structure. You know what? I cannot find it right now. So let's do... I'm going to make a call. Just right now. If you could do... again, if you could do a control and security roll.
I can try. Apparently, I've not been very good at it today. So here we go.
Sometimes it'll be like that, and then it'll be assisted by the ships. Good heavens, man! The game that is a complication and no successes. I mean, the ship does not assist you because you need at least one success for the ship to assist.
I need 15s.
This is wild. I guess this is why they said you were a bit of a bad luck charm. Once again, you move to the control panel, and with that, I'm just going to roll real quick. Anyways, I'm just gonna roll something really quick here. Okay, that didn't work. One sec. Roll 20. Don't fail me now. The console that you're at sparks in an explosion. As were this real and were the safeties not on, you would have taken 3 points of stress damage. You remember this moment. The moment when the engineers that you ordered to open up the torpedo bays did so. But in the process of doing so, they created a cascading feedback loop that was sent back to your console. As the explosion goes off, all you can do is stand and watch in stoicism as the Cardassian vessels in front of you continue to close in. Gonna make a roll here. I'm gonna spend a point of threat. And assisted by the ship. That was 2 die for some reason. It's still rolling 2 die. Okay, regardless, from those 3 rolls that continue to roll 2 die, very strange. We still got 1 success. The Cardassian vessel that shot out behind you turns around and fires a torpedo at you. A salvo of torpedoes.
Tortugas.
Torpedoes.
Ah, okay.
A greenish glow lights up the view screen as you see these torpedoes launch out toward you. I'm going to spend another point of momentum. As these impact you, not Tabok. Oh my god, Sakal, roll a reason and security roll. Difficulty of this would normally be 1, but because you've been in the war for so long, we're going to drop it down to 0.
Oh.
Gain 1 point of momentum. Gain 2 points of momentum for that, up to full momentum. As they hit you, as you know this simulation is about to end, Galor-class cruisers don't have torpedo banks. And they certainly don't have plasma torpedo banks. From here on out, there's not a lot you can do. You've already run through the rest of these simulations. The torpedoes impact against...
Well, this is the 10th time I've run through it today.
Exactly.
It was a short engagement.
Yep. The torpedoes impact against the starboard nacelle, pretty much blow it off, but also begin the process of eating away through the rest of the hull into the secondary hull. And you know that after this point, the evacuation orders have to begin.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time you tried firing against the shieldless Galler. Usually you try to take out the more pressing threats. But even now...
They were close enough that if I could have made that one, if I could have forced a core explosion on that one, it would have damaged the shields on the other two.
That's what you tell yourself.
This time.
Mm-hmm. As you... Were you not a Vulcan, you would move to reset this in frustration. But you're a Vulcan. And you prepare the reset.
Of course, not out of frustration, but out of a need to know how to improve my performance.
Mm-hmm. As you're doing so, because you rolled 2 successes, something else piques your curiosity, but at the very least you recognize it. As you're looking through these logs and you've pieced back together the bits of the Pequod's black box into this simulation, plus your own remembrance of the events. That cruiser that moved past you, it was targeting the fleeing vessels at first. And then it stopped and turned back to you. Which doesn't entirely make sense.
Could be a problem with the programming of the simulation. Obviously, it's not an accurate recreation. It is simply a similar set point with strategies implemented by the computer. But I do want to see... Do I recall being shot by plasma torpedoes?
You do. For the purposes of the roll, the roll was just to see what you remembered from the event, basically.
Okay. Well, if I've been through this, Dave, yeah.
You do recall being shot with plasma torpedoes.
Right. Okay. So.
Which you remember was strange because, as far as you're aware, no Cardassian vessels of the Galler class have photon torpedoes implemented into them currently, let alone plasma torpedoes. Plasma torpedoes, as far as you know, the last time the Federation has really encountered plasma torpedoes was, I don't know, about
Romulans,
about 100 years ago.
just about.
But yes, the plasma torpedoes are something that you remember.
Actually, it's not 100 years ago, believe it or not.
You're right. It's more like, what,
50.
60? 50?
50,
Yeah.
50, 60 years ago, yeah.
Obviously, those ones were at a much larger variety. The big red balls of death. But
well, that was an experimental weapon,
yes,
with the ship basically being built around the weapon.
exactly.
It was the Romulan version of the A-10 Warthog.
Yep. About that time, you're shaken from your memories by an alert coming from the simulation room's comm panel. Bleep, 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 bleep.
I push the button. Yes.
Lieutenant Commander Sikal,
Yes.
you have an incoming message, audio only.
Can you play it here?
I can, sir, as long as that's fine with you.
Please do.
Very well. Patches through. And the voice of a female voice, devoid of emotion, comes through. A voice you recognize as your sister.
Half sister.
Half sister. Sikal,
Yes.
I trust things are agreeable.
As they can be, considering the situation.
Yes, I heard that you have been placed on psychological evaluation. Again.
This is a common occurrence when large combat losses have been encountered, especially after the loss of a starship.
I see. And what do the Federation doctors recommend?
Nothing as of this time. I have passed all of their exams. I simply await my next duty assignment.
You can't hear it, but you know that eyebrow is getting raised. In the Vulcan Science Academy, should a member of their crew have undergone psychological evaluation for how many times has it been in this last decade?
I am unsure. I spent the last 5 years on the Pequod.
Regardless, had that occurred on a Vulcan vessel, you would be receiving the finest medical and psychiatric care to ensure that your full health could be ensured.
Sister, I have been a member of Starfleet now for 50 years.
You have left the Science Academy for 50 years, you mean?
Directors of the Science Academy and I had, shall we say, disagreements. And I found it no longer tenable to remain there. Starfleet, however, was willing to accept what I had to offer.
There was a brief moment of silence from her end. as your closest biological relative in active service, your Starfleet has asked me to sign off on your emotional state of well-being before your next assignment.
And then I would appreciate your alacrity.
I worry that your time among more emotional races, given your proclivities, could cause additional distress as time goes on.
Worry is a baseless human emotion. Why are you experiencing it?
Call it something that will be purged when I take Kulinar.
Have you then chosen to do so?
My name is under review, and part of that is ensuring I have no current connections which could cloud my judgment in the vicinity.
I am certainly not in your immediate vicinity.
You are
Or
not.
did you mean perhaps metaphorically?
Silence again for a moment. Should I approve of your mental well-being, you will be asked to return to the task force, which your vessel once led. Far away in the Alpha Quadrant.
Good. I require purpose again. A new duty assignment will assist in that greatly.
You have no concerns?
None.
Roll me insight and command check. This will be... Okay, I don't have to even worry about that. I don't even have to worry about rolling. Your sister's trying to get rid of you, from your opinion.
Oh, yes.
You're pretty confident that's exactly what she's trying to do.
She has been for my entire life. Half sister.
Yes. As you are fond to make sure that everybody is aware. Arena is not... She is your father's daughter, but from a different mother.
Yes.
Well, I believe that concludes our business then. I shall arrange for this to be cared for. That you have a clean screening of your current abilities as Chief of Security. And you are to contact a Captain Blackburn to receive your new posting.
Very well then.
Will there be anything else?
No. Be well. I hope that you find what you are seeking with the Kolinar Masters. Live long and prosper, sister.
Hope is an emotion that I will try to repress. Peace and long life. Circle. And the connection cuts. as you are left on the bridge of the ship that you were forced to abandon. What do you do as we change scenes?
Arch one eyebrow and say, "Computer, end program."
Very good. We are going to transfer now to the Theater of the Mind. We're going to move on to our commander. Ray, are you good? You good to go?
Yes.
Gonna drop you in there. Commander Dyood, tell us a little bit about your daily routine as a exchange member from the naval fleet of Score. What do you kind of do on a day-to-day basis on Earth while you're waiting for your next stationing?
Well, every day I wake up and I hit my head into a door frame. And then I walk down the halls at a bent angle, sniff at breakfast that I do not want to eat, and avoid every single person I come into contact with.
Very good. If you could, roll me a control and control or fitness, your choice. And let's say control and what are the skills here? Sorry, those might escaping me. Control and security.
All right. 2 dice?
2 dice. Difficult. Oh, wow, you did it before I said the difficulty.
I'm
Also-
sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's perfect. Also, Cheesy, as we have transitioned from scenes, if you could please drop 1 point of momentum as we switch scenes.
That seems pretty mean, but okay.
It's rules as written.
It is mean.
We don't follow rules around these parts.
You know,
We have to try to follow rules.
Starfleet Command follows all the rules.
We have to try to.
All right. You've learned the paths of the other people who might try to interact with you during your day's procedures. And you do a pretty good job at avoiding them. And the ones that you can't avoid, you handle with promptness so that you can get on with your day.
Am I to be incurring one such person shortly?
You are. There is somebody who comes up alongside you. An ensign. Do you even remember their name?
Do I remember the ensign's name?
Yes. They've run into you several times over the last few months.
I do, as I have memorized their daily routine and know when to avoid them.
Very good. I wasn't sure if you just memorized them as Ensign Avoid 1, Lieutenant Avoid 2, or if you actually memorize their names. You know what I'm
It
saying?
should be exceptionally clear that I know who I'm speaking to and who I'm avoiding.
Very
I have
good.
an extensive list of everyone I have encountered in this particular base.
Very good. Ensign Evans approaches you with his jubilantly chipper self.
I take a large breath in.
Ah,
I realize
Commander Dyood.
Oops, sorry.
Commander Dyood, how goes the day? Up and at 'em early, I guess.
Yes, as per usual, I have taken to my morning stroll, Evan. How are you doing today? He does not answer questions about what he's doing.
Oh, just delightful. I'm surprised to see you out here instead of answering questions.
Yes, well, I do occasionally require a breath of fresh air, but I'm all full up on that now. I think I shall be returning to my quarters if you do not mind. And with that, he turns to pivot back towards his safety comfort zone.
Roll me a. What would it be to hear something as you're leaving, to listen to something? Let's do a. Insight and command roll. Difficulty is going to be. The difficulty is just going to be 1 for this. As you turn back and try to head back to your quarters. Do any of your focuses apply? Give me a second.
It does not seem to be applying, but I do have
Okay.
the roll.
Okay, well then go ahead and roll.
Okay.
1 success. You made it. As you're leaving, you hear him say, you can't catch all of it. But it seems like there's some kind of news that he thought you would be more excited about.
What? Apologies, Ensign. Could you repeat what you just said? I may have turned prematurely.
Of course. Well, I mean, I'm always happy to answer your questions and you know, just bond over these times. I mean, we hardly have many score here until, I mean, I guess we're going to have more soon, right?
Right. Would you care to tell me, was that the message or was there something more?
Well, no, it's just, I mean, I'm sure you being a decorated member of the Score Navy and armed forces would have been made aware that, well, I mean, the paperwork went through. Your plan is part of the Federation. The Navy's disbanding and becoming part of the Starfleet.
Oh, joy. I can think of nothing better. I am overwrought with emotion. I am so incredibly pleased to be bonding with you during this most momentous moment in my career. I have to go.
Of course, I mean, I'm sure you're super excited to be meeting with all of your friends here soon. And
Yes, all of my friends. So good to see you. And with that, he
Of
makes
course.
it as fast as he can away.
Dude, what's going through your mind right now?
Private thoughts. Thoughts of private nature.
Of course. Ever since the encounter between certain members of the Score hierarchy and the crew of the USS Enterprise, things have... They reached a bit of a boiling point then, and afterward things calmed down, and the process of integration into the Federation was always something in the back of your mind you knew was going to happen. And thinking back on it, the fact that you were included as a member of an officer exchange program should have been a cue, maybe, that it was going to happen sooner rather than later. But it's only now becoming evident to you.
Yes, now, having been on this planet for how many months again? How long have I been here?
You've been between assignments for probably the last, 3 months.
Yes, only now has it just occurred to me that this may be a permanent situation, not, just a possibility.
Yeah.
Just now. At this
Just
moment.
now. I mean, you were perfectly happy to do what you were doing here as part of a cultural busy work. Or whatever
Yes,
it was
happy
you were
is
doing.
a very, very generous term.
It is generous, but we're generous people here in the Federation.
Are you?
About this time, you get as you're returning to your quarters, you said, right?
Yes, swiftly, with haste.
Swiftly and with haste, you return to your quarters. And within your quarters, or at your quarters doors, you find waiting for you, maybe, if she'll spawn in, a woman, commander's insignia, datapad in hand, currently pushing the button to your door's alarm system. Dyood! Dyood!
Yes, how can I help you, Commander?
Hello, yes, Commander Natalie Avila.
Commander Natalie Avila, so good to see you.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Yes, no, I totally didn't memorize your face from all of these photos everywhere that I had to look up extensively. Anyways, he doesn't say that part out loud.
No, he thinks that part, though.
He thinks that part aggressively. How can I help you?
Well, I know you've been here for a while on Earth, kind of learning the ropes of how Starfleet does things. And I'm sure you've been wondering what exactly and where exactly we have things planned for you. And what
It has
what
occurred.
our mission statement is. Right. I have good news for you.
Oh, joy.
We have a command. We have a command for you.
Goody, yes.
There's a new vessel that's being commissioned currently. Should be ready in about 3 weeks or so. And you've been selected. Should you agree? I mean, far be it from Starfleet to force you into such a position. To serve as its executive officer.
Nothing would bring me more joy than to serve under this new team. May I ask who is captaining?
Captain Blackburn, decorated Starfleet officer, currently will be on his second command. And if you want his personnel record, and she holds up one of the data pads that she has in her hand.
I've already read it. I've already read it. He sighs.
Very well. Do you have any questions?
No. If I think of them, I will reach out to you directly.
Good. The captain's requested a dinner amongst the command staff that's available here at Starbase, at Federation headquarters, in about 1 week's time. So I'll send you the invitation for that when it's ready.
Thank you most graciously. And he does like a half bow, and as he does so, he accidentally hits his head on the beam above you.
Oh,
it's
are you
okay?
Fine. Are you sure? I mean, my ex was really tall, and he was.
I am copacetic. I am copacetic. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. If you say so, I will trust your judgment, Commander. And she starts to head away unless you have anything else you want to say to her.
He fans his feather out in front of her as if to stop her, but it just comes off as it's an oddly bird-like gesture that he is not aware is odd, but it does seem very strange.
Let me roll something to see if she knows what it is. Does she have anything that would help with this? No, she does not.
I hope it does not come across as aggressive. So does he. He also, but he's not thinking like that. It is just a common gesture.
This would be what? Reason and command? I think that's fair.
Oh, thank God.
She looks at it, and you said that was a gesture to stop her.
Yes.
She stops.
He has his head cocked straight upward, but he's looking down at her with his eyes. I want to commend you for the excellent service of this base of operations. You have been unduly kind. I recognize I am not your average commander. I want you to know that we think very highly of you and the naval and the Royal Score Navy. And it would be my greatest honor to serve on one of your starships. And with that, he gently retracts his wing. I know
Thank
that
you,
I speak
Commander.
differently than you, and it may come across as insincere sometimes. Regardless, my genuineness cannot be overstated. And with that, he walks into his quarters.
Thank you, Commander, she says as the doors close behind you. You get thank you, and then the door's closed.
And he sinks back against the door and just a little pile on the ground. Just sits there on the opposite side of the door.
As the weight of where it is and what you are doing actually starts to sink in, and the reason why you were sent here starts to hit home. We're going to move on. Lieutenant Barnaby Baxtra? Baxtra. You got pulled off of the front lines a couple months back for undisclosed reasons. You've been back here at Federation headquarters on holding pattern. Now, obviously, the Starfleet has given you things to keep you busy. But you know what busy work looks like. How has that been affecting you?
Not too bad, for the most part. Mostly just looking forward to what they have in store.
You receive a message, text only. You received it yesterday. And it just said, meet me in my office. We have things to discuss. And you. You know who that is. It's somebody that you have interacted with often. And so the next day, you find your... Oh, wrong one. Hold up. That's the dining room. You find yourself entering an office in Starfleet headquarters. A familiar office that you've been in before. And feel free to drop your token in. Drop down to the GM layer. And pop this guy up to the token layer. So you hear Did that work? Nope. Hold up. Come in.
He walks in and takes a seat pretty quickly.
As you enter in Admiral Nyota Uhura's office.
How's it going, Admiral?
It is going well. How are you, Lieutenant?
I'm doing great. Got a nice good sleep recently.
Good. No issues to report, I take it?
Oh no, none at all.
Very good. Very good. You know that when you and your people were brought back after the disastrous first mission of the USS Enterprise B, there were certain people who immediately rushed to the aid of the Starfleet crew, who immediately began to scan and try to figure out the whereabouts of the man who sacrificed himself to save you and your people. But there were a few who instead dedicated themselves to helping the civilians that their friend sacrificed their life for. And one of them is the woman who is in front of you today. Strangely enough, she was relatively recently promoted to Admiral, probably about 10 years ago. For someone with as dedicated a history and career as her, for most people it would come as a surprise. Yourself, you know better. Remaining captain was easier for the head of Starfleet intelligence. Kept a lower profile, but eventually promotions catch up to us all. And she looks toward you and says, "So, I'm sure you're wondering why you've been pulled from the front."
Yes, ma'am. Honestly, I'm just ready for whatever you throw at me again. What you got?
I wish I could say it was anything good. You know that Hikaru, Pavel, and myself have been doing everything we can to keep your people and your nature from being abused.
Yes, ma'am.
Barnaby, I don't know how to say this any more bluntly, so I will. We're not like you. I'm old. And I don't... No. I know that we can't keep protecting you.
You've done great so far. But I understand. And honestly, I don't think you look a day over 30.
She chuckles. You flatter me. Lieutenant. But the fact of the matter is, there are a lot of people who feel they need, who feel they're entitled to what you can provide. And we won't be able to continue to keep them out.
Be a bit selfish for me to think you could do that for just one race when you govern a lot. I understand.
It's unfortunate that in my position, we tend to look at people not just as people, but also as resources. And had there been a different director of intelligence at this time, I can't help but speak honestly again, your people would have been used as a resource.
There's a lot of my people that wouldn't like that very much. Be quite honest.
There are a lot of us from a different age who remember the importance of these things, but as new generations take over, they forget the sacrifices of the past. Originally, and she slides a data pad over to you, anything that I say here will not leave this room. Do you understand?
Whoops. I'm notoriously good for keeping secrets after all.
I should hope so. Originally, you were pulled by an operative of ours who is gaining popularity among Starfleet intelligence. Bit of a firebrand, a bit of a loose cannon, the sort who would have approved of the Gorkin incident of the Klingon Empire. Mr. Sloan wanted to recruit you under his own auspices. I've been working through a lot of red tape to keep that from happening.
I'm assuming this Sloan doesn't want me to be his best friend then?
I think this Sloan wants to become your best friend, if you know what I mean.
Not fun when it's the other way around.
As I said, among Starfleet intelligence, his younger generation are gaining ground. Personally, I think it's only a matter of time before he does something that backfires spectacularly. But regardless, I've pulled a few strings to keep you out of his grasp.
You're not sending me to the far end of the Alpha Quadrant, are you? Some back-end area nobody knows
Nope.
about?
No, of course not. I don't think you would like that very much, would you?
My species is a social one.
I'm sending you back out to the front lines.
Thank God. I mean, thank you.
I've pulled some strings, replaced one chief medical officer for yourself aboard a starship. I know you're more used to ground-side deployment, but a starship will do.
He's not mad, is he?
I don't
Or
think
she?
so. I don't think he is. Personnel records seem very clear. There was a complication, though.
How big?
Well, in order to move you around and keep you from being pulled into another task force, I had to pull you into mine.
So you're saying that I'm Starfleet intelligence now?
She looks at you with a bit of a sorry look. It's the only way that I could keep you from falling into his hands was to put you into my hands for as long as I have left in this position.
Don't be upset about it or anything. I mean, honestly, Admiral, I've worked under a lot of people. You're on the top of the list so far. I'm
She
perfectly
chuckles
fine
again.
with it.
She chuckles again. You've never worked for an intelligence organization, have you?
Worked at a library once. Does that count?
No. That being said, I do have something for you to keep an eye out for while you're out there. It has to deal with the matters during the debrief with your race. The matters you discussed with us. The loss of your homeworld.
That's a weird topic. Please continue.
We took what you said into consideration, and 7 years ago, we sent out a vessel to see if we could catch any trace of these beings you spoke of. And it disappeared. It disappeared in the Alpha Quadrant.
I'm sorry. Did you say the Alpha Quadrant? You're not
Yes.
you're not missaying that.
No. I wish I was.
So they're a lot closer than we thought.
I don't know, but it's troubling. Very few people take these sorts of things seriously anymore. Gods and robots and monsters. We're in an age of exploration and understanding, diplomacy now. Not a frontier.
The things are going to change when they figure out not everything is about diplomacy.
As I said, we don't have proof. We don't have anything concrete. But if you find anything out there, we need to know. And we need to know immediately.
If I do see what's out there, and if it is, I'll die sending that communication out.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that, Lieutenant.
I have a question, if you may. Do
Of
you
course.
have a plan for the inevitable?
Frankly, we don't know enough about them. We don't know their technological capabilities, their military capabilities. Nothing. And that is concerning. All of our tactics and strategies are against known quantities. And, if you'll excuse my saying so, your species did not have a military capable of combating whatever force this is.
No. From what my parents told me, they remember it the best. There's not a lot of militaries that could.
So until we know more, I don't know if we have anything. That's why, well, what I'm doing is protecting you from what others want to use you for. It's also very, very important.
Of course. Like I said, I'd rather be on your side than anybody else's.
Do you have any other questions, Lieutenant?
What's my captain's name?
Captain Dominic Ivan Blackburn. This will be his second command. Seems a level-headed enough man. Not one of those old scientists. But what the Federation needs now.
With a name like that, that'd be a weird scientist, wouldn't it?
I suppose so.
All right. Well, I guess the only thing I have to say is, do I start packing now?
I think he has a dinner planned for his senior staff. He might be a little surprised to see you. But, and she slides another data pad toward you. Here's all the paperwork that shows that you are exactly who was selected.
All right. Well, I hope he likes the prizes.
I doubt he'll have a choice when it comes from the Admiralty Board themselves. Lieutenant Baxtra? She stands with all the creaky gravitas she can muster. Welcome to Starfleet Intelligence. She extends a hand to shake it.
He shakes it. I won't let you down, Admiral.
I know. Dismissed.
Thank you. And he's gonna, with like a hop in his step, run out and start packing.
All right. We're going to skip ahead now to the end of that week, 2 weeks before the launch of the Vulcan's Forge. It's dinner time. Let me pop up this screen here for everybody. Can everybody see it? Beautiful. Captain Blackburn, Caligo.
Yes.
You have your senior staff crew, minus a chief engineer. Chief engineer, from what you heard, is also helping to design some things on the ship, and he refused to come to this meeting because he's needed aboard the ship.
Is he?
But it's time for you. Finally got your staff selected that is available here, and have prepared a dinner with the assistance of a lovely civilian chef who has also. You've decided to bring her on aboard as the bartender / chef for your own vessel.
Stood for morale.
Oh, this is the chef for the captain's personal mess?
Yes. And she also serves as the bartender for the vessel.
Well, the main bartender.
Yes. A Trill woman by the name of Aneska Lex. Everybody assembles at the meal table. Feel free to drop in your tokens. If you need help, let me know, and I'll drop in your tokens for you.
You're probably going to have to drop in mine because
I got you. Where would you sit?
At
the far end. Okay, perfect.
Oh, somebody else is sitting there now. That's not me.
Got it.
There we go. That's good.
Fantastic. And then also, among the crew is your flight deck officer, who you requested transfer from the USS Redstone, an Anar woman of the name of Severus Thavalan.
Okay, that's a lot of syllables right there, really close together. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, it's Andorian names. They're
yeah, they're
Andorian names. They're a lot.
Yeah, there are a lot of
yeah. Cheesy, I'm going to ask you, what would the Lex symbiote have cooked for today?
Oh, for today, for sure, something energetic. You know what I mean? So like something a little bit more light, just to keep everybody in a good mood, and definitely not something that's too chewy so everybody can speak. So like a good soup and a salad.
Okay. So for this, I'm going to have her roll insight and science. Also, if you could drop one momentum, Cheesy, for a change of scene.
Yeah.
I'm going to have her do insight and science. And she will use her cooking focus. And let's say the difficulty for this. Let's say the difficulty for this is 2. To make something beyond just standard. To make something that would be truly amazing. To help everybody.
Oh.
All right. With 3 successes, you can go ahead and gain 1 momentum. Alaska has put together a spread of food from across the worlds of the people here. There are some standard human foods for Lieutenant Baxtra and for Captain Blackburn. There is, I don't know, birdseed. What does Commander Dyood eat? Ray? Ray. Okay, we lost Ray.
Is Ray muted?
I was yelling.
You were muted.
Nobody heard me.
You were muted.
You were muted.
I was muted. So I said I eat food. Normal food. Perfectly normal food. I just have to wear the murder dome over my head as I consume.
Very good. So she brought a murder dome.
Thank you.
Well,
specifically for you.
You've got that and a bowl of seeds.
For the Vulcan and for the Anar, there are vegetarian options.
Good.
And also, there's this drink that is really starting to catch on in the Federation. It's a Klingon drink called Roctagino. It's like coffee, but better.
Wait till everybody finds out that it's made by squeezing rodents to death.
Nobody needs to know that. That she has brought as well. Along with, water and other standard refreshments. So it's quite the nice spread. Captain Blackburn, you are surprised as the medical officer who shows up is not the one who you selected.
I look at, the pins on them. Lieutenant? Is he supposed to be lieutenant or lieutenant commander?
Lieutenant.
Apologies. I totally forgot to introduce myself. My name is Lieutenant Barnaby Baxtra. This is all the paperwork. He pulls out a side satchel and moves a bunch of stuff around, pulls some stuff, puts it on the table, and then finally finds the data pad with everything on it. He goes, it's all in here. So.
Blackburn will reach over and take the data pad.
Insight and security.
Insight and security. All right.
And it's going to be contested.
Tested? Would Starfleet protocols apply to this?
Yes, it would.
All right. Not great.
Let's see. Do any of these apply? Uhura, who wrote these, is going to spend a value, which is more than just hailing frequencies, and is going to roll this with an automatic critical success.
I see.
Yeah, looks legit.
I see. What information do I parse from this? It looks official. Who overrode my my request, more or less.
Sorry,
Are you asking me?
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Oh. It sounds like Kresic is being thrown down a dark tunnel.
I am.
Rev.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Am I still being thrown down a tunnel?
No.
Ooh.
Okay, very good. As far as you can tell, it's another UFP force. Apparently, they feel that Lieutenant Baxtra has been overlooked for promotions and for use because of his propensity toward being placed in small medical units instead of aboard cruisers and actual Federation starships. And so they want to put him aboard this vessel so that he can show the skills that he's actually learned.
As chief medical officer?
Yep. However, the record that you have of his service, for the fact that he's a lieutenant and he doesn't look a day over how old, Cheesy?
He chose 22.
The fact that he doesn't look a day over 25. It's extensive. He's done a lot since he graduated. A lot more than your previous option, than your previous choice.
Well, I suppose I can overlook this. They gave me an officer that is capable. Welcome aboard, Lieutenant.
Thank you, Captain. Promise, won't let you down. Food is delicious, by the way.
Oh, thank you. You could say it's taken me lifetimes to perfect.
I can sympathize with that.
Lieutenant Skull, you've had dealings with Lieutenant Baxtra before. There was a ground operation that was supposed to be a week long that a detachment from the Pequod was sent to. Turned out to be the better part of 3 months. And he was the forward station's field medic during that time. He patched up a lot of good men. And
How long ago?
I'd say about 4 years ago.
Okay, only 4 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you said you've been aboard the Pequod for 5 years.
For 5, yeah.
So it was about a year in.
And he looks far too young.
He
still.
looks exactly the same in your nearly perfect Vulcan memory as he did at that time.
I do what I can to keep a flat affect. But it is curious.
All right. Any matters to discuss between the crew?
I do recommend the lot of you get familiar, since we will be serving together. And then many
Query.
of you...
Sorry,
Oh.
sorry, keep going.
Oh. And I will let the commander introduce himself. He is not traditional Starfleet.
Damn it. Okay. I just had a question. I didn't want to introduce myself.
You made a noise. I had to lock in.
I noticed. He stands up, takes the murder dome off his head, and nods politely to Captain Blackburn. Thank you, Captain. I will keep this very brief. I am a member of the Score Royal Navy. I am part of an exchange program. I do not know how long this will last, but I hope to get to know each and every one of you, not just by face and the records of Starfleet that I have been perusing on occasion. He pauses, eyeing everybody at the table. But by personality, I hope to get to know each and every one of you thoroughly. And with that, he sits down promptly, not quite sure what else to do, and folds his little wings into, as you would like you're holding your hands interlocked.
Does he put the murder dome back on?
He does. He does after nodding to everyone individually at the table, and then puts the murder dome back on.
All right. Thank you, Commander. Now we will be on a mission to a region of space that is slightly more volatile. So I hope everyone present does have a good stomach for tense situations. And your records all show that you should. This is an informal meeting, but if there's anything you would like to say, this is a good time to do so.
Captain,
Yes.
I believe we are headed into the contested area between the Federation and the Cardassian Union. Is this correct?
That is correct.
Really?
What is our mission profile?
Officially, our ship is being outfitted for emergency response.
Interesting.
And we are...
Your use of the word officially in that manner suggests that there is an unofficial portion of our mission.
Suggest he's making shit up, Savalian says.
Who said that?
The person sitting to your left.
The murder dome comes off.
Oh.
Rephrase how you said that.
Sorry. Suggests he's creatively altering matters.
Ah, thank you for the clarification. He nods to the captain. Continue, Captain.
Yes. Thank you. We will be operating as the lead vessel in a small task force.
Ah. Is the Vulcan's Forge replacing the Pequod and its flotilla?
You would know that the answer is you are replacing the USS Pequod. Yes.
Yes, we are replacing the Pequod.
Good. I have been disquieted by my enforced removal from that theater of operations.
I see.
You know, the more you talk, I swear I know you from somewhere.
Sako blinks very slowly, and then just between when the eyes close and the eyes open, they're now pointed at you rather than the captain. And he just goes, "I do believe you are correct." And then he just turns back to the captain.
All right, then.
You both have extensive operations records, so it is not surprising if you have.
Take that as a compliment. Thank you.
This is currently, obviously, not the full true complement. We still have more members to pick up at Starbase 11.
211.
211? Starbase 211.
Are any of these former personnel from the Pequod or the squadron that it supported?
Captain, you would know at least the science officer is. You're not sure about the helmsman.
I know the science officer had previous experience with the Pequod.
Any of the crewmen or other officers? There were not many. There were only a dozen of us who managed to survive the destruction of the Pequod. But from the other two ships, they were damaged, and I do believe they are still in repair and dry dock.
If you want to know more, Captain, that would be a let's say reason and security. Actually, no. Reason. Let's see. What is it? Reason and con, because the missing crew members that would be available would be in the con department.
I see. Starfleet protocols?
Nope.
No.
Difficulty of this though, because I would say you have the trait that you've been doing all of this research. The difficulty of this is only 1.
Okay.
We do have 5 momentum should you wish to spend it.
I mean, my odds aren't great, but it's sufficient if it's.
And
sufficient
then
to win.
I'm going to spend a point of threat to increase the complication range by 1.
Oh, there we go. No, that's nice. I'm sure it'll be fun. Hey.
Okay. Let me just delete this real quick. So I'm going to ask you, Sean, do you want any of the other members to be aboard the ship?
Okay, I'm not muted. Having some of having any of the ground troops who are used to my command style might be useful and helpful.
Okay. So let's say with 2 successes, difficulty 1, let's say of the dozen that survived, let's say 3 of them are still in physical, mental, and emotional shape.
Okay, that's from the Pequod, but the other 2 ships were damaged and mostly managed to get out of there. So are all of those personnel just waiting for their ships to get fixed?
Blackburn would, well,
or are they
yes,
waiting
you would.
to, or are they being redistributed as it stands?
Blackburn would know that the other 2 vessels, while they suffered some damage, nothing severe. Those were the 2 that were carrying civilians back.
Yes,
from the colony evacuation.
One of which I named was the Penzance.
Perfect. Nothing too severe from the damage. So the crews are still in pretty good shape. They lost a handful of personnel, but those 2 vessels, the staff is pretty much the same.
Okay, so, but they're being sent somewhere other than the Cardassian front.
No.
Oh?
They're still there.
Oh.
You're replacing the Pequod, and those other 2 vessels are still there.
Oh. Okay.
That's what you would know.
Okay.
The Thavalan raises her hand to speak.
Yes.
Hi, Captain. So, just wanted to let you know, real exciting news. We got a hold of a couple of those new, well, they're old now, but they were new, runabouts. It seems like the crew that was working on they got transferred to more combat-ready craft, and now the new crew, they want to name them all after rivers. Kind of weird if you ask me. I prefer birds. But, just like you requested, I managed to get a hold of a couple of those, plus the shuttles that we transferred over from the Redstone. We should be fully combat capable as a carrier, as per your request, sir.
Excellent. Good work.
Sokol's eyebrow, if it could go any higher, it would go past his hairline. Carrier?
Forgot I didn't introduce myself. Master Chief Petty Officer Severus the Valorant. I'll be your comfort navigator on any shuttles or small craft you might need to, Captain. Captain, and she gestures back toward you. I'm sure you can take it away from there.
She served alongside me on the Redstone, and she is very capable.
Damn straight.
And the vessel we shall be serving upon, the USS Vulcan's Forge, has an extensive shuttle bay complement that I decided that I was going to make full use of for our operations.
Interesting.
Sounds like we have the capacity for a lot of ground missions.
If the need comes for it, either transporting supplies or evacuations.
Here I was thinking I'd be trapped in space for this whole time. Love going planetside.
And I am fascinated by the possibilities of fighter support.
The Cardassians do love to use fighters as well. So it's best to not be on the off foot if such an unlikely event occurs.
How well trained are the pilots?
Trained the kids myself.
I would like to have complete dossiers on every one of your pilots, and I will begin testing as soon as we get to the ship.
Wouldn't you just?
I believe you two will become very well acquainted.
Yes,
The
I
call
think
is
we
actually
will.
still looking at her, going, and is like, I am unsure, but I do believe that was heavily laden with sarcasm. Is there a reason for this disdain?
No, sir, not at all. Just, well, you know how when you have kids, they're your responsibility, not that creepy uncle
I do
who
not have
comes in
children.
once a year. Right.
Nor am I.
So,
allowed to
when
eat
you
eggs.
have children, and as she's doing so, I'm spending 2 threat.
Fucking talk over him. I had to talk over a player. What a power move.
I like that you
Right?
cut her off at the creepy uncle part.
Yup. There is a flash of light, and a woman appears, holding in each of her hands a small puppy.
I'm not carrying on board ship. That would be bad form. But I'm immediately standing and in a combat stance.
I'm gonna do the same, but I do that stance that Guinan does.
the claw hand.
With the claw hands?
Yes.
You know what? Baxtra, roll me insight and command.
Oh
Difficulty of this 2. She's holding a puppy in each of her hands, and as she does, she holds her hands up as if like surrender. Okay, perfect. Good to know. Thanks, Cheesy. Wait. Hi, guys. Hello. She looks down at herself, looks at all of you.
Evening.
Dang it! Wrong uniforms, right?
Can we help you?
Sure. Yes. Actually, yes, you really can. Hi.
You need to identify yourself immediately.
Hi, my name's Amanda. And I know all of you. You're Captain Blackburn, Commander Dyood, Lieutenant Baxtra, Lieutenant Commander Skull, and Thavarin. and Alex, right?
Correct.
Good. Good. Okay, we are at the right spot. My uncle dropped me off at kind of an awkward time.
Is he creepy?
No. Well, actually, you hear a voice.
Wait,
Now. Disembodied voices. Now, that would be telling.
wait,
Does the
Right,
disembodied
right.
voice sound like John Delancey?
It does.
Oh,
wait.
Dang it.
All right. You said wrong
Hi,
uniform and time?
Huh? Come again? Sorry.
I heard the words wrong uniform and sent you to the wrong time? Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, you did. And before you attack me, please, let's just everybody calm down. I'm here to help, I think.
You sound very uncertain.
Well, I mean, I am here to help, but it's complicated.
Do you
There's,
care to extrapolate on this complication? And
Sure.
would you like to set the...
The-
Yes,
the
those.
puppies, do you want one? I mean,
Yes.
I kind of bring them wherever I go because they tend to be cute, non-threatening, and keep people from shooting me.
You're using puppies so people won't shoot you.
Like I said, it's complicated. A lot of people don't like me or my kind.
How did you get on board?
How did I get on board? I appeared.
Yes, you did. How did you
Yes, I
manage
did.
that?
Come on, people. Come on. It's not completely unfamiliar. I mean, you've met plenty of beings that can do like what I can do. You had Organians. You had what was his name? Trelane. You had that thing at the center of the galactic barrier. There's a lot of things that are beyond standard understanding. I can't say a lot because there's a lot of things that you have to discover on your own time. And I respect the way the Federation runs things, even though maybe some others of my kind don't. But I do.
If you are offering us glimpses of the future, then I would suggest you leave now.
I will do so. There's just one problem. All those different things that I talked about in our existence. There was a thing that happened with our people, and a thing that we did that was the right thing to do. But it kind of kicked off a bit of a war amongst our kinds of beings. And I'm kind of here to make sure that... Listen, I know your ship leaves in 2 weeks. I don't want to die. And the only way I can avoid that is if your ship leaves in 1 week instead of 2 weeks. Because I'm kind of already dead, but I'm kind of not.
Every time we mention our depart date, it gets reduced by a week.
Yes. So like, I kind of need, and listen, if you decide not to, I will respect that. And I'll just die. Because who am I to tell you what to do with your lives? I just appear. And I have no control over what you guys do. But if you could, that would be That would be great. There's a lot of things that are going to happen on your voyage, and I'll kind of be popping in here and there if I can. I don't really know if I'm going to be able to. But yeah, if you could do some stuff to make sure that I don't die a horrible death by being split across the cosmos into a million subatomic temporal particles, that would be amazing.
Captain, permission to remove this being to a nearby brig.
Not going to work.
Do you have something to add to this conversation?
I think you should listen to them, Captain. I really do.
What do you base that recommendation on?
Well, for starters, they don't really ask for help.
They who?
We didn't used to. Like I said, turning over a new page, trying to respect the autonomy of other races, even mortal ones and temporal ones.
Captain.
She still has 2 puppies in her hand.
Wrong.
Actually,
she
no.
has one. I took
One puppy's on the table, crawling toward you. The other one, she now holds in both of her hands.
Okay.
Question, Captain. Would it
Yeah.
harm us to leave a week early? Secondary question. He tilts his head and looks at her. If you are dead, are these puppies also dead?
If I die, I think they do. Do they die? I don't know. I've never died before. There you go.
These puppies of indeterminate life saddened me.
You know, technically, it's up to us whether those puppies die or not.
Don't say things like that. We did not bring these puppies here. Therefore, it is not 100% on us that these puppies be dead. Captain,
I do believe you are focusing on something other than the main issue at hand.
I am aware of the main issue. The puppies are haunting me as one is cuddly and very cute up against me. I am trying to redirect my attention. Please do not tell me what I am focusing on. Captain, what would it hurt to leave a week early?
It would not hurt to leave early. Though we should have an investigation in progress for this breach of security.
About that, sorry. Gonna kind of do a little thing that probably isn't right, but you can't tell anyone about me, so I'm kind of gonna scramble your brains just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Huh?
Oh,
So you can't tell anyone about me. Because you're not supposed to meet us yet.
I take issue with that.
I'm sure you would. That's my orders. But if you promise not to tell anyone else, I won't do that. Because I trust Starfleet.
Captain, my request to incarcerate this individual still stands.
Do you have anything that could corroborate or provide proof, Amanda, given that we could just explain away your appearance as a transporter that should not have gone through?
Scan me. Check the records around Topeka, Kansas. You'll find a genetic match.
Lieutenant. Looking towards Baxtra.
Want me to look that up?
You're the medical officer.
Go to the nearest terminal.
All right, reason medicine.
As I'm doing this, Captain, I really wish you would trust my judgment. They really don't act like this.
They. Ooh.
I'm not at liberty to say, because that would be breaching other things. And what was the skills again?
Reason medicine. Do you have a focus that would apply?
I have surgical techniques, infectious diseases, autopsy, genetics, immunology, neurology, and
Genetics.
Genetics.
Or neurology.
What's the complication range?
Complication range of this is 1.
Okay.
Difficulty is 1. Ooh, success and a complication. Cheesy, how do you want me to handle that complication?
Narrative's so fun.
Okay. You do find a matching record. A human girl by the name of Amanda Rogers. Her parents were killed in a freak tornado event in Topeka, Kansas. She is currently up for adoption.
Captain, you want to take a look at this? Or do you want me to send it over?
Blackburn will get up and walk over to take a look.
Baxtra, with that complication, you think you know exactly what happened to this person's parents.
Yeah.
Take 2 points of stress damage.
Yeah.
From the mental stress of realizing what happened.
And the genetics match.
Genetics match. A simple, normal human girl. Perfectly healthy. Too perfectly healthy.
Too healthy for someone meant to be dead?
Oh, she's alive. Oh, you mean the version of her that's here right now?
Ah. All right. So you jumped around, and now you're out of place and out of time.
Sure. If that makes enough sense to you.
You're displaced temporally, then.
More like I don't really exist in time? So don't worry. I know your Vulcan directorate believes that time travel is impossible, but...
That was,
oh, shoot, that was
a very long time ago.
You're right. My bad.
Okay. I sent you my background, and a couple of his majors at the academy were quantum mechanics, temporal mechanics, and probability.
Okay.
Is this sounding anything at all plausible? And remember, he can run equations in his head while having a conversation, like all Vulcans can. So,
I would say, if you'd like to spend a point of momentum, I can just give you that information as an information spend.
Sure.
It's not the craziest thing you've heard happen to a Starfleet crew. I mean, you never expected it to happen to you.
Considering everything that the Enterprise went through during its 5-year with Kirk and the 5-year with, well, the 2 5 years with Pike.
And then in addition to that, you had a couple of strange things that happened with Harriman, and then there was a whole weird, like, bit of lost time that happened with Captain Garrett when she was a lieutenant. That, like, the timelines don't add up. Like she was somewhere else or with something else.
I don't know about that yet.
Yeah, that's all I'm going to say with that. Usually it tends to happen to Enterprises. But there were plenty of times that it's happened to other Starfleet crews. Not the strangest thing. And following patterns of uniform changes, her uniform, while it's not a standard Federation uniform that you're used to, or even the new ones that are coming out, if you run the numbers, eventually uniforms would look like this.
The comm badge is the same, just about.
Comm badge is just about the same, and just running the standard trends of how the uniforms have been changing.
Running the iterations forward.
It makes, like, it's... Maybe you expected it to be a little bit more military looking?
Instead of pajama looking.
Exactly.
But the styles of Starfleet uniforms change as Starfleet's mission changes.
So, while you can't say for certain that her story is correct, there are enough pieces that give you some credence to what she's saying.
Enough to move the story forward. Understood.
Unless you want to shoot her.
I would have shot her as soon as she showed up, but I'm not armed at the dinner table.
You're not one of those guys, huh?
Hitting us
That
with a
would be that. No, yeah, that'd be really bad to do.
Wouldn't be the greatest.
I'm not on duty. I'm not on board my own ship yet. I have no position of authority here, aside from my own rank. So walking around armed would be bad form.
So, there you have it, she says, still holding a puppy in her hands. My life, my race's life, kind of in your hands. I mean,
you were being extraordinarily vague in asking us for assistance of some matter.
That's all I can. You all know Temporal Mechanics 101. Right?
Right.
Years ago, yes.
So you know how this works. And even though maybe I have more power than Temporal Mechanics 101, I know Starfleet protocols. And I'm going to follow Starfleet protocols.
You're suggesting, however, that you're experiencing a non-linear existence, and you have come to tell us that you are going to die somewhere in your own personal timeline, and our actions within the next week or so will affect this?
Yes.
Amanda,
Yes.
do I have it clear that you are requesting aid?
Yes.
Then, as a newfound member of Starfleet, I would think we have an obligation to offer it. That is what we took in our oath, was it not, Captain? Or was there a translation error? So difficult to tell.
We are supposed to offer aid.
And she is requesting.
There are proper channels to go through. She has done none of them.
It doesn't exactly look good to say we need to push things ahead because somebody breached Starfleet headquarters security to ask us directly.
So what would you have me do? How can I prove to you? What do you want from me?
Right. Given
Amanda,
Mm.
when we were given this offer, the refusal would lead to a brain scrambling, correct?
I beg your pardon?
She stated, he says, pointing a feather in her direction, that she would have to scramble our brains if we did not help. Is that correct? Or was it just the event we tried to tell somebody about her presence?
It was in the event that you tried to do things that could cause ripples and really mess things up. Like, not just our species' lives, but like timelines and all that stuff.
You are directly asking us to affect your timeline.
You have already affected our timeline by simply being here.
And
Exactly.
I can erase myself just as quickly.
I am simply stating that in order to gain our trust, you must earn it.
Okay.
Do not scramble our brains. Allow us to think upon things. And while I cannot speak for the captain, I speak for myself when I say I would not endanger your anonymity in any fashion. But I would like time to think, as I think everyone at this table would also like.
I can do that.
After all, we have the week until events should transpire.
You have a week. You have a week. I have a week. Yes, we can do that. Yeah.
If you can travel through time, why not simply go into the distant past further away from the incident that will cause your extinction? Why
Because
not
there are
simply-
people.
Why not simply avoid that particular region in time at all?
When you exist out of time, and you deal with other beings that do so as well, the rules of warfare are significantly different, Lieutenant Commander. And a lot messier. Sir.
I believe then it is simply, as one of my uncles put it, a bit of wibbly wobbly timey wimey.
I suppose that would be accurate, yes. So,
Captain, I have insufficient data with which to make suggestion.
Commander Skull, was it?
Sakal.
Dude. Skull. Sincere apologies. As stated, we do have a week.
In theory.
In theory. Amanda, as you have brought these glorious, possibly decaying puppies, well, absolutely decaying, but possibly already decayed in your timeline, puppies, your presence has overall been quite exciting, and I think it has excited Commander Sakalo. If you would be so gracious to revisit at a different time, as I think you are capable, and let us time to discuss things. like keeping you alive. That would be most ideal.
Captain,
I can do
need
that.
Captain, need I remind you she has violated Starfleet Command security. She has come here using means unknown to us. She is dangerous. My suggestion for incarceration still stands.
There is a flash of light, and the puppy in her hands is gone, and instead she has a pair of binders on. Does this make you happy, Lieutenant Commander? Is this what you want? Because if that's what you want, that's what you'll get. You want me to stay here? You want to keep an eye on me until you make your decision? Sure.
An emotional outburst is not required.
An emotional outburst. My life is at stake.
So you say. We have no proof of this. We have nothing to go on except your own statements, which follow no logical pattern and provide no evidence for or against what you claim. Again, Captain, I have no information to go on, offer any other suggestion than incarceration. Whether that incarceration is possible or not is a separate matter.
Amanda has, at the very least, displayed abilities that are not ordinary.
She is also both standing here and 10 years old.
Yes.
Being able to maneuver through time. I do not know who spoke to her from the air, although that voice seems to have remained silent or moved on.
He's overprotective, but I think I've convinced him to go about his business for now.
As you say. Orders, Captain.
I assume that if we did try to restrain you, you would have some means of escape.
I could. But if you want to put me on trial, so be it.
I do not believe anybody has mentioned a trial.
They will. Anyways. Well, we will. But again, regardless. Anyways, whatever you need, you tell me and I will do it. As long as it doesn't violate Starfleet temporal integrity.
All right. I feel to be a spotlight. How dare you? All right. You said you would pop up from time to time. Does that imply you're going to leave after this meeting?
Well, I was planning on it. I was hoping that delightful Starfleet optimism that I'm used to, but looks like I kind of miscalculated about that.
I believe the expression is, you failed to read the room.
Good expression, sir.
All right. We will try to leave early. I will see what I can do. And you, by whatever odd means you have, if you really are capable of transporting yourself in such a way, let's meet at Starbase 211.
I can do that. I can do that. Captain Blackburn? Guess I'll be seeing you at Starbase 211.
Indeed.
And there is the sound of a snapping of fingers, and she vanishes. The puppy stays.
The puppy stays.
And as you're left with that,
I
what was
believe
going
I
to
have lost
be
my appetite.
what was going to be, and what still is, a mission into military space with mysteries of disappearing science vessels looking for unknown assailants. And now this. It seems things are becoming much more complicated than what was initially believed. And I think that's where we'll end our session tonight.
Oh boy.
Very good.
We hope everybody enjoyed this debut pilot episode of Star Trek Adventures Partisan's Edge. Once again, I'd like to thank our crew, Caligo for Captain Blackburn, Ray playing Commander Dyood, Sean playing Lieutenant Commander Sakal, and Cheesy playing Lieutenant Baxtra, and last and least myself, Starfleet Command, playing the series of NPCs that will be inhabiting the world of the tail end of the lost era of Star Trek. Hailing frequencies closed.